Hi, and we're here with Magic Image Hollywood Magazine, and I'm your host, CHERYL COSENZA, and I have a real treat for you today. We're here with an actor who has been involved in a cast of 2 Oscar-winning awards for both Jarhead and for Traffic. And we will be seeing him in a new release of a film called Devil on September 17th. The handsome Jacob Vargas. Hi Jacob, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So tell us about Devil. It's a supernatural thriller.
It's a supernatural thriller. It's from the mind of M. Night Shyamalan, who I'm a big fan of. You know, I love the Sixth Sense and The Village and Signs, and so this is a project that he came up with. He also produced. It's directed by the Dowdle brothers, who did Quarantine, and you know, I tell you, it's like a throwback. It's like the old Hitchcock films, and you know, there's 5 people stuck in an elevator, and you know, as time progresses, people start dying. You know, start getting killed, and my character, I played the character of Ramirez, who was one of the security guards. I believe, and I see the signs that it's actually the devil coming to take souls, and so I try to convince Bowden, who's the police officer, the detective, who's played by Chris Messina, and you know, so I'm trying to convince him that it's the devil, and he, you know, he's more the you know, realist, pragmatic guy, and he you know, believes that it's actually a killer in the elevator. So we're at odds as to what we think is going on.
So it's really deep.
It's very deep.
This is
pretty comedy.
Well, with those people involved, both the producers and directors, I'm sure it's just fabulous. It must have been great working with them.
Yeah, it was awesome working on that. It was but it was tough. It was a challenge. It was they shot the.
It's the radio.
Oh, does that matter? No. Okay.
No.
Okay. No, it was. Sorry. I had to for a cheeseburger. You know, yeah, it was a challenge because they shot, you know, we shot the elevator stuff first, and then you know, our stuff is in a security room, and it's all in one room. You know, all in one room. We're watching these monitors, so all of our stuff, we had to, you know, figure out ways to make this one room, you know, work for half the movie and not feel like you're enclosed.
You're claustrophobic.
Right. Although the movie does feel claustrophobic because you're in an elevator.
Right.
You know, there's people's trapped in the elevator. I mean, you know, what would you do if you're trapped in an elevator and people started dying?
Well, that probably brings to life a lot of the drama and a lot of the suspense that's involved with the film. Nevertheless, hearing the word devil.
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's you know, I really believe that one of these people is the devil, and also, you know, my character, you know, narrates the film, and so he starts off by telling a story about how his mother would tell him stories, you know, about the devil and the devil's sighting and the devil's meeting, and how the devil would lure people whose time has come and torture them, and you know, and basically he takes their souls, but he doesn't make it easy. You know, he's gonna make it rough. He's gonna torture them.
It's not an easy road.
Kind of toy with them, and you know, but so we were watching all of our stuff. We were really reacting to nothing because we. You know, they shot the elevator stuff before we got there, and then we had to basically react to screens the whole time. As
a fellow actor, I'd like to know how you got into character for that.
You know, which, you know, it's a positive and a negative. The negative was you didn't really have anything to react to, but the positive was that it allowed you to use your imagination. You know, and I think our imagination is more powerful than anything, and so we were able to create what our idea of scary was. You know, I'm sure mine was different because his was different than, you know, Matt Craven or one of the other actors. You know, we all had to react to the same thing, but I'm sure we're all reacting to something that we created in our minds that was very different. Yeah.
Wow. So you're just using creativity and your own your depth inside to actually bring it out.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, and so but yeah, so that was challenging. It was draining. You know, it was draining, like day in and day out. You know, how many times can you be shocked by the devil? You know, I mean, you really, so you really have to kind of gauge that that performance, and but you know, I'm very proud of it, and I think it's going to be a good film.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see it. I'm sure your fans can't wait to see it.
And like I said, I've always been a fan of Night, his work, you know, and
phenomenal.
yeah, you know, I think I mean, one of my favorite films is Unbreakable, you know, which is, he brought like a superhero movie and kind of brought supernatural elements to it, which is great. And so, you know, so it does have his touch, but you know, he didn't direct it and he didn't write it, but he did produce it, so it has his kind of creativity, yeah.
Absolutely, which I think is what everybody likes about the films that he's involved with, so I'm sure Devil's going to be a hit. That's wonderful.
Well, hope so. Go out there and watch it.
That's right.
Go support it. September 17th.
And your co-stars, had you ever worked with them before?
Never. You know, no. I mean, Bokeem Woodbine, who's another actor in the film, you know, I worked with him before years ago. But no, I mean, the only one that, you know, we didn't get to work with the elevator people. You know, there were 5 people stuck in an elevator.
Right.
I mean, and they were really in an elevator. I mean, really, they shot it in an elevator for like 5 weeks. I mean, so it was, you know, so I'm sure, and by the time I got there with Chris and Matt Craven, and you know, we saw, they were just haggard, man. They looked like they'd been through it, you know, and like dealing with each other for 5 weeks. I mean, I'm sure, you know,
they're probably
took
ripping their hair out.
Oh yeah, I mean, they had this glazed look, you know. I'm like, oh my god, that's crazy. And then we had to start our stuff, you know, our part of the film in one room. But you know, we had a blast because we were able to keep ours a bit lighter and there was more movement, and you know, our stuff wasn't as serious to a point, you know. So, but no, it was a lot of actors that you know, that I had, you know, worked with. I worked with Matt Craven. We worked together in Crimson Tide years ago. This Tony Scott film about a submarine that gets taken over, you know, with Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman. So you know, I had a tiny role in that, you know, and Matt had a big role in that. You know, I worked with him again on Dragonfly, this project with Kevin Costner, but we didn't have any scenes together. So it's nice to finally.
It's nice.
Yeah, you know, yeah, and it was great, man. And we had a great relationship, and you know, we were able to play off each other well. So it was great.
Well, I think it's interesting for everybody to hear how films are shot, because when they see the final project, they don't really realize how many separate scenes there are and how you could actually be interacting with somebody and you never actually even worked with them. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, well, like, you know, like case in point, you know, we're reacting to what's going on in the elevator, and we never saw any of that.
Right.
So, you know, hopefully it matches, you know? Hopefully,
well, hope they did a good job on that.
Yeah, hopefully they worked in the editing there.
Something tells me it's going to come out just great.
I think we're safe.
So your fans have hinted to me that your charm and your likability and your depth have come across very strong on camera in many of the roles that you've done. And being somebody of depth on film, how do you take that to your own personal life? Are you involved in any projects that are something that you truly believe in?
You know, I guess I mean, yeah, I mean, I do. I like to get involved and give back to the community. I mean, one thing that really, you know, I'm getting involved with now is like literacy. You know, childhood literacy. You know, my daughter, you know, she's 5. I mean, she's gonna be 6 soon, and you know, she started learning to read. You know, and I realized that, you know, just to the fact that she's learning. I mean, just her accomplishment, the feeling of accomplishment that she gets from that, and she's able to, I guess, to learn things and to, you know, go into these different worlds, and it really reminded me of being an actor and just how important it was for me to read, you know, and go out there and get information. That, you know, there's a world of information out there. You just got to go out there and find it and know how to get it, and part of that is learning how to read and put it together. You know, and I remember, you know, in school I wasn't really exposed to a lot of like Chicano literature, for example, and so once I graduated school, I started taking like these Chicano literature classes and learning, like, you know, about Red Rain of Gold by, you know, Victor Villaseñor and Bless Me Ultima, and all these great novels that I never got a chance to read, and I was able to you know, to discover them on my own. And I just, you know, so I found like this love of reading that I like to kind of give back to, you know, to the next generation.
It seems like, and this is from my own personal sense as well, and as an actor and somebody who really feels deep about education, it's almost like the depth of education and reading broadens your horizon so much that you could take so many other passions on and characters on from that. Yeah. So is that pretty similar to what you're finding as well? I think it expands your imagination. Right. You know, when you're reading, you create your characters, and you put the faces to the characters, and you create the emotions and all that. And I think it just helps with the actors. It's all about imagination, really. You know, and I mean, also you take your personal, you know, experiences as well. But for the most part, you know, the most powerful thing we have is our imagination, and we
has something that they can expand it, you know, that's even better.
That's great. I hope everybody takes into account the idea of education. It really does expand on the literacy program that you're involved in, and that you keep doing that. I think that's great.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.